Warning: the following video contains explicit language, which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready?
Hey everybody, it's Jeff. It was really a nice day today, and then just like maybe less than an hour ago, it just clouded right in and the temperature dropped. And yeah, I mean, it's strange. It was nice and sunny out, not a cloud in the sky. It was 52 degrees, and Jesus, I mean, I had to close the windows and turn the damn furnace on. Yeah, Jesus. Christ, fucking Maine, you know, the weather's always changing all the time. Anyway, got a couple of videos here, and this first one is from the iHip girls, and they're going to be talking about Carolyn Leavitt, who is angry at the Democrats because a lower court judge had ruled that the federal workers that were fired need to be reinstated. And she's like, oh, who the hell are they to fucking, to countermand the president? So let's go to that, and then we'll talk a little bit about that on the other side.
Caroline Leavitt continues to confirm to the American public that she has a basic misunderstanding of how government works. Watch this clip.
Has ruled that tens of thousands of fired federal workers must be reinstated immediately. Okay, Karen, how are you going to fight that?
Well, let's talk about the absurdity of this, Stu. You have a single lower district court judge who ruled that all of these individuals need to be rehired, just usurping the executive authority of President Trump to fire federal workers. This cannot be allowed to happen. This ruling was unconstitutional. The White House and the Trump administration are prepared to fight back.
Caroline, what's absurd is that the judge ruled that the firings were unconstitutional. What's absurd is that you don't understand that there are three equal co-branches of government. That's the absurd part. But you continue to get on Fox News and feed the rubes this bullshit, watered down, authoritarian word salad. And this is insanity. You have members of MAGA that are cheerleading 10,000 American workers getting fired. And most of these services are there to keep you safe, to make sure government is transparent, to make sure airplanes don't fall out of the sky. But these dipshits, I mean, they want to consolidate power to the two most incompetent people on the planet. I want to remind everybody, at the top of the ticket, we've got Donald Trump, a man that wears a full face of makeup, that is a convicted felon. Below that, we have Elon Musk, who is a taxpayer-funded welfare queen, a billionaire off of our money, who is an untreated drug addict. Then you have J.D. Vance, who is a yassified, failed drag queen, also, I believe, to be a Nazi, as is Elon Musk. And then right below that, you have Moses Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, who lives with some closeted evangelical preacher, and they have slumber parties all the time in some condo. And I just want to remind everybody, every time you have a group of white evangelical men sitting around talking about how they're not gay, they're probably gay, and they're probably doing gay stuff. This is who is running the government right now. And Caroline Leavitt is dumber than a box of hot rocks.
My question when I heard this is, do you think she knows that what the court said was that Trump's behavior is unconstitutional, or she's projecting? Or do you think she really doesn't know?
Whether she knows or doesn't know is irrelevant. What is relevant is that they have a message, and the message is we are autocrats and we are going to gaslight the American public. What she knows or what she doesn't know, I don't give a shit about. But across the board, they are using these cult-like tactics to make the American public disbelieve that these agencies are helpful. They did it with the FBI. They did it with the Department of Justice. They did it with Congress. Congress is all but ceding their power, their co-equal branch. And now they're doing it with the judiciary. They're trying to badmouth the judicial branch because that is the only guardrail that remains, because everybody in Congress is too cowardice to address it. So what Caroline Leavitt believes or doesn't believe is irrelevant to the central messaging that this administration is perpetrating a complete dismantling of the American government. Everybody is on the same message all the time because they're a petri dish of sociopaths, all of them.
They absolutely are a petri dish of sociopaths. And the fact that we know he's going to appeal it to the Supreme Court, and are we going to be holding our breath that the handmaid saves democracy? I mean, it's so nerve-wracking because Donald Trump and MAGA has infiltrated the judiciary, the executive, and the legislature. I mean, it's scary. It is terrifying to think what's going to happen if all of these policies, if the law is ignored and they continue to turn this government into an autocracy.
Well, I think it's already happening. I mean, I think you have the corruption is on full display. The Tesla car commercial, the quid pro quo with that. He does a car commercial for Elon Musk. Elon Musk gives him $100 million. I mean, it is just blatant corruption at a degree we've never seen in this country before, not to mention the pardoning of all of the January 6th criminals. And then he appoints a Russian asset, Tulsi Gabbard, and you have all these Republicans that capitulated and voted for her. I mean, so I think we're already like 75% to an autocracy. So their central messaging right now is beat up the judiciary as best we can. And this is a play out of Donald Trump's playbook. Right. They're after me. It's a witch hunt. I'm a victim. I don't have to be accountable, which is amazing to me that Americans allow for this, that we're supposed to believe in accountability and transparency for everybody on the planet, except for that motherfucker. It just blows my mind. All right, next up, we have Donald Trump, who, as we all know, is not a lover of animals, but this really gets in my craw. So on March 13th, he's posing in the Oval Office. Happy Canine Veterans Day to all of our heroic working dogs, including Conan, who fearlessly participated in the military operation that ended ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. Do you remember how he said that when he did that in 2019? So here he is with this little patriot canine who fought terrorism, right? And then TSA has cut K9 bomb-sniffing units as the White House celebrates K9 Veterans Day. From TSA Security Operations, National Explosives Detection, K9 team programs, they have cut vet visits, kenneling, and dog food has been put on hold, effective immediately. These people are such sociopaths, and they're so depraved that they are cutting funding for these fucking dogs. And I don't know what the bottom is for these MAGA supporters. I do not understand how there are still people that get on the World Wide Web that are like, MAGA, go Trump. We love our president. It blows my mind.
What's so amazing is if you're a veteran or you have veteran benefits, the Republican Party from soup to nuts has never supported you in anything. And this administration, firing veterans, suicide hotline, everything they do is against veterans. It is unbelievable that they do it to people. Now they're doing it to dogs. Like you said, there is no bottom to what they will do for people who serve this country, people and animals, I should say.
Yeah. And I've had it. I have had it with MAGA people that are racist, yet enjoy sporting events that are dominated by African Americans. I've had it with MAGA people that claim to be animal lovers and love the military, and they probably celebrate these cuts of dog food and veterinary services to these dogs. It's just, it's the depravity and the moral bankruptcy and just how diabolical these people are is truly disgusting. No wonder every other country on the planet hates us except for Russia. And he hates us so much, he wanted to destroy us.
Right.
And he's been successful. Next up, we have dipshit Pam Bondi, further proving what a dipshit she is.
People were locking up on that. We have someone in jail right now from one of the dealerships. They threw a Molotov cocktail through a dealership. They're looking at up to 20 years in prison. So if you're going to touch a Tesla, go to a dealership, do anything, you better watch out because we're coming after you.
Wow.
And
Well,
if you're
yep.
funding this, we're coming after you. We're going to find out who you are.
So, I mean,
Here's my question. Are you doing this for all property crimes or just Tesla? It is unbelievable. We have car commercials for Tesla. Elon Musk owns Tesla. Elon Musk owns Trump. And now we've got the Attorney General of the United States going on the rounds of Fox News talking about what they're going to do to people that harm Tesla cars. I'm anti-property crime, but this is bullshit. It's selective prosecution. It's fascism. Everything about this is wrong. And I have seen her more on Fox News than probably she's been in her office. She is on there every night shilling for Donald Trump. It is gross. She is unqualified and she is selectively prosecuting fucking property crimes on behalf of Donald Trump.
Well, do you remember that during Trump's first term, he had a hard time understanding that the attorney general wasn't his personal attorney. And he had a hard time understanding that the FBI wasn't his personal goon squad. And he told one of the generals, I want the generals like Hitler had. So it makes perfect sense that from Trump 1.0 to Trump 2.0, the rapid speed in which they're moving and the people whom they selected, he wanted to select people that were loyal to him and him alone. And then you have this dark, shadowy figure too, actually, Elon Musk and Vladimir Putin, that cower over Trump constantly. So it makes sense that he would extend Pam Bondi to Elon Musk because he sees Pam Bondi as his personal attorney and Elon Musk would see her as such. And that's just how he learned from his first term. He learned how to be more corrupt. And that's why we're seeing this at lightning speed. They're going to break it as quickly as they can, which brings me to Sean Duffy. Sean Duffy is the Secretary of Transportation. We have had all these plane crashes nonstop. Pete Buttigieg and Joe Biden were hiring more air traffic controllers. Elon Musk and Sean Duffy got into a huge fight in the cabinet meeting. And Sean Duffy was saying, I don't want to fire air traffic controllers. You know, the planes are crashing, and Elon Musk's like, you need to fire them. You need to hire high IQ air traffic controllers. They have this weird thing about the high IQ, which, if you ask me, thou doth protest too much. I think Elon Musk on some ketamine bender one night did one of those IQ tests online. I think we hit like a double digit. Trump probably did something similar. And now they're on this high IQ thing. So listen to Sean Duffy, who is already in just 40 days that he's been Secretary of Transportation. I don't know how many days he's been confirmed. He's already been an abject failure. I mean, Transportation Department is completely 180-degree turn from the way that Pete Buttigieg ran it. He's a complete failure. And listen to this thinly veiled, not so thinly veiled, racist attack on air traffic controllers. This is what MAGA does. They never take personal accountability. They always blame marginalized group, and their favorite target are people that have melanin in their skin. Watch this clip.
Should do an investigation. I want to know, are there DI practices still in place? Because the president has been incredibly clear. He wants the best and the brightest air traffic controllers controlling our skies. I agree with him on that. So we're going to do an OIG investigation. We're going to have we're working with a law firm who's going to do an independent investigation into our air traffic.
Number one, the reason, if you were to conduct an objective investigation, It would be determined that you shouldn't have fired the air traffic controllers that you fired. It would be determined that you wouldn't defund air traffic controllers as Elon Musk has done. What happens when you do that? You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And now there's a lot of people who lost a lot of people they love on a routine American Airlines flight from Kansas to Washington, D.C. And these people lost something incredibly important to them, something they treasure that they're never going to get back because of the greed and the corruption of this administration. Sean Duffy is complicit. If he had any decency, he would resign from his job immediately, go to Congress, and tell all about the blatant corruption and the dangerous practices of this administration. They are tearing down the country with impunity. It is absolutely abhorrent and disgusting. And I want to remind you, they won't even feed their dogs. They won't feed the dogs. Please subscribe to our channel and we'll see you all later.
Yeah, pretty crazy. You know, these goddamn cuts here for health care for veteran dogs and healthcare and food and all that shit. I mean, you know, cut. That's all you're getting from the Trump administration. I mean, he's you know, piece by piece shutting down the government on his own. Even if the Democrats sided with him, you know, by not shutting the government down, he's doing it anyway, you know. And it's just crazy that, you know, we have, you know, this crazy and in many ways idiotic press secretary who feels invigorated by Trump to go out and lash out at this judge by saying, oh, how, you know, ridiculous it is that, you know, this judge gets to, you know, it's like, hey, lady, look, if you know anything about government, you know that this is how things work. All right, this is how these are things that happen in government. Okay. And you need to brush up on your fucking civics if you're sitting here acting like this, because it sounds to a lot of people like you don't know what you're talking about. And maybe it's because Trump picked you because you didn't know much about government. That way he can hoodwink you at all the time, you know, by doing things and making you think it's legal. But for some reason, you know, you think that what Trump is doing is right, and a lot of times it hasn't been, and you just don't seem to catch on to the fact that, you know, Trump is not, he's not a law-abiding person. He should have figured that out a long time ago. I hate to think that, you know, people, I don't know how old she is. Okay, I'm assuming she's probably like in her 20s or something like that. If she's a representation of people in their 20s, then we got a serious problem coming down the pike here. Okay, we got a very, very serious problem here. If our 20-year-olds have the same brain power as this woman here, we're all in trouble, okay? And it doesn't matter if it's Trump or not, okay? Because these people clearly are easily duped, don't know a whole lot about what they say, and hey, you know what? Their stupidity, they'll stand on that to their dying breath, okay? Arrogance. I want to read this here because this is something that's happening here in Maine here. And it says Maine loses $15 million for energy efficiency heat pump loans. Trump's EPA has halted grant funding meant to help Maine homes cut their energy costs. Heat pumps are good for Maine and can save a home thousands of dollars a year by reducing or eliminating the need for heating oil. Last year, Maine's reliance on heating oil dropped more than 6%. It was the largest annual decrease in decades and directly tied to heat pump adoption. Despite the decrease, more than 50% of Maine homes still use costly heating oil. Maine imports 80% of its heating oil from Canada. Trump's tariffs on Canadian oil will balloon the cost, drastically hiking our cost of living. If the GOP spending bill passes, which it did, the oligarchs will have unchecked power to unilaterally block congressionally approved funding and implement more tariffs that disproportionately affect Maine. Susan Collins is backing the bill, and Jared Golden was the only House Democrat who supported it. We cannot surrender our state and country to the oligarchs. Normal people will suffer tremendously if that happens. So, again, the war on Maine continues here, okay? You know, it's crazy. This is what happens when you give somebody who is of weak character, weak intelligence, this incredible power of the office of the presidency. You see what happens? They don't use it in a responsible fashion. They use it as a weapon. He weaponizes his own power to go after people that don't agree with him. In this case, it's our governor. He's making life miserable for her, and in collateral damage the rest of us as well. Okay, you know, this is insane. And you know, I don't see how you know, anyone in this state after the end of the year is still going to be on. If there's anyone left who is still going to be MAGA, is going to be okay with this guy's president. I mean, come on. I mean, how loyal can these people stay with a guy like that? I mean, if MAGA is the kind of people I think they are, then they will turn on Trump eventually, okay? Because Trump and MAGA are of the same mentality, okay? There's a lot of people that think like him, and he found them all, okay? And so, if that's the case, they will turn on him eventually because, you know, they don't want their livelihoods upended. They want their livelihoods upended. They want that. That's what they want, okay? If you're a Democrat, I don't care what happens to you, right? That's MAGA. But MAGA was never thinking, and they never thought along the lines of, you know, when a government implements a law, it's a bludgeon, okay? I've heard many people over the years say that. If you're looking for a solution to a problem, the last place you want to look to is the government, because when they implement a law, it doesn't just target specific things. It's not a scalpel, okay? A law is always a fucking sledgehammer, okay? Which means it impacts everybody, whether that law is deserved or not. And that's the reason why, you know, people looking to get rid of government because of that fact is people who don't understand it. I mean, these are the same people who don't understand how government works and why it works, okay? They're the ones that are sitting here always bitching, well, government needs to take care of my individual problem, okay? Well, it doesn't work that way, okay? It doesn't work that way. Yeah, people often go to governments to implement new laws, okay, to correct things that's happened. But eventually, even the new laws will step on somebody's toes. I mean, in an unjustifiable way. That's why, you know, everything can't be set in stone. That's why the way Trump is leading right now is bad, because he's trying to do that sort of thing where everything he says should be set in stone, no matter what. Okay? Even if it hurts MAGA, I don't care. This is my fucking law. Well, you do that long enough, eventually the people that supported you are going to get sick and tired of being the victim. And MAGA, I mean, they've been playing the victim game for so long, I don't think they know how not to, because when it comes time, when their livelihoods are upended, they're going to be the first ones out on the street protesting, rioting or doing, you know what I'm saying, just like they did on January 6th, okay, same fucking thing. These people got so pissed off. You'll see that again. All right, they will be out there doing the same shit again. So, like I said, I don't see that, you know, things are going to die down because Trump is president. It's only going to escalate. He's coming out of the gate harder than he did the first time around. But this time, you know, he's coming out swinging, and he's coming out to, you know, push everybody out of his way. And he's got loyalists behind him that are, he knows that, you know, hey, you fuck me over, I'm going to fuck you over 3 times harder. Okay, he's running the government like Putin would. Okay, so why the system doesn't try to do something to stop that, I really can't tell you. He'd have to have a lot of Democrats on his side to keep from being, you know, having to face consequences, okay? A lot of Democrats have to be on Trump's side in order for things to go this far, because he's already crossed the line constitutionally. You know that, and I know that. That would be enough for grounds for impeachment. But have you heard any talk about that yet? Have you seen any movement to that yet? Not really. So that means there's a lot of Democrats that are either too afraid to do anything, or they are been bought and paid for. So, like I said, you know, in this political climate we're in, with the corruption that we have in our government that we've ignored for decades, it's all come home to roost now. The can can't be kicked any further down the road. That's it. It's either now or never, you know. All right, so let's go to a commercial break. We'll come back another video.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Roxy Sugar, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
Hello, it's your favorite president. Now that I made all our deportation dreams come true, we reclaimed every single job that was taken by illegal immigrants. And let me tell you, folks, there were so many. I call them brown jobs. Jobs we were born to do and do what Americans do best.
I carry this old guy to the bathroom about 3 times a day. I gotta go.
And now America can get back to work like it's never done before.
I used to stay home and watch Real Housewives, but now I got to work 3 shifts in a row.
I hate other people's children and their poop.
So let's get busy, America. Go do all those brown jobs you wanted so much.
Let's go, ladies. Those beds won't change themselves.
Uno, dos, tres.
And show the rest of the world what we are made of. Look at me, I'm doing a brown job too, but just for 10 minutes.
Hello, Daniel Caldwell. This is the VA Crisis Response Hotline. We're calling to inform you that your emergency request for in-person counseling for PTSD has been denied. To stop fraud, waste, and abuse, these services will be replaced by VetCare AI, powered by Grok, an X company. President Trump and Doge Chairman Musk, thank you for your service and being part of our efforts to eliminate waste. Have a nice day. Press 1 to repeat this message. Press 2 to return to main menu. Press 3 to leave a message, and an AI operator will call you back if your problem is deemed unwasteful. Goodbye.
It was the greatest honor, hero of the Soviet Union, awarded to those who gave their all to defend the motherland. Today, it is the hero of the Russian Federation. The men and women who have served the motherland's interests with great honor and distinction. Marco Rubio.
We're going to need to have functional embassies in Moscow and in Washington.
Tulsi Gabbard.
According to the U.S. government, these biolabs are conducting research on dangerous pathogens.
J.D. Vance.
I don't really care what happens to Ukraine one way or another.
And the greatest hero of our time, Donald Trump. These heroes know Russia is a peaceful nation that will never bow down to the decadent American values of what they call democracy. Remember them. Let history record their names amongst the greatest of our heroes. Never forget, they live in our hearts forever.
I can't get hard, not even with the blue pills. Will the salt trick work for me? All right, pay attention. If you're over 35 and not as firm as you should be, or if you're popping the champagne a little too early, I highly recommend the salt trick. In just 20 seconds, you can prepare this drink, and your anaconda will stand tall for hours almost immediately. This homemade salt tonic has been used for years by Brahmin bull breeders in India to help them stay firm and mate with up to 20 females at once. But a few years ago, this trick fell into the hands of the adult film industry, and since then, this little secret has been used by adult actors instead of the little blue pill. That's because it works in just minutes, flushing out flaccid toxins from your body that make your buddy shrink and fail when it matters most. It may sound crazy, but this drink is 6 times more powerful than any pill from the pharmacy, and because it's natural, it has no side effects. And if you haven't heard about it yet, it's the company behind the little blue pill, starting with P, that censors anyone who talks about this cheap, homemade solution. That way, they continue raking in billions every year from the suffering of millions of men just like you. But I'm putting an end to that right now. I'm releasing the short video that shows how to prepare and use the salt trick. Back then, this video was sold for $47, or they would have taken it down immediately. But so you can start the year off right. I'm leaving this video free for the next 3 hours. In the video, it shows step by step how to prepare this 20-second trick today and leave your wife with limp legs tonight. Just click the button that's appearing somewhere in this video to watch. If a page opens, it means the video is still available, and this might be your only chance to toss the little blue pill in the trash and learn how to make this homemade, safe recipe that's 6 times more powerful than the pharmacy pill. But I should warn you, this video contains some pretty hot scenes, and it also shows an African green tonic used by tribes in North Africa to grow their tool to the point of outgrowing all their underwear. Do not use if you're already too big or satisfied with your size, and also how to eliminate the flaccid toxins that are sabotaging your hardness and shrinking your little guy like a turtle. Watch with headphones on. As I mentioned, the video is uncensored and shows exactly how this trick works to make your buddy rock hard. So click the link below and watch while it's still available.
Now there's measles spread, we had it at bay. Dismantled vaccine scientists are fired without pay. And air traffic chaos, planes crash every week, blaming blacks and women pilots, soft to compete. I finally own the lift tonight, now what do I do? The purchase took everything I got, consequences too. Yes, I finally own the lips tonight. Trump got me this prize, but I burned it all down to get what I want, and now I'm stuck with his lies. Was a time when all my allies were pro-democracy. Now I'm defending Kim Jong-un and Putin's legacy. I used to want to win Cold Wars, not conquering Greenland. And I cheered the fall of the Berlin Wall, now building, it's the plan. I finally own the lips tonight, now what do I do? The purchase took everything I got, consequences too. Yes, I finally own the lips tonight. Trump got me this prize, but I burned it all down to get what I want, and now I'm stuck with his lies. To visit Disney's Small World and bring all my kids. Now I'm suspicious of those globalists and their socialist bits. I always liked the guy who mowed my lawn and his fun accent, but his wife wasn't illegal. I got him off, he said. I finally own the lips tonight, now what do I do? The purchase took everything I got, consequences too. Yes, I finally own the lips tonight. Trump got me this prize, but I burned it all down to get what I want, and now I'm stuck with his lies. But I burned it all down to get what I want, and now I'm stuck with his lies.
Really hate that sad loser, Mr. Neuberger.
Who, me?
Be a
part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. All right, look, there was this article that came up. There was a green card holder from New Hampshire who was stopped and interrogated at Logan Airport and eventually detained. And, you know, people are wondering, you know, what the hell went on there, because, look, I mean, the people, MAGA, and all them are the ones out there saying, you know, you got to have a green card if you're going to come here. And this guy did, and still, he was taken away by ICE. You know, it's like, what the hell? I don't know. That was just put out there now, so there's no real details yet about what the hell went on there. And then Tesla in Germany has withhold pay for sick workers and tries to coerce them into signing termination agreements. That's really a nice additional reason to hate Tesla right now. And I just, you know, maybe they ought to do some research on what happened to Walmart after they tried to avoid, you know, the German labor laws. Okay. You know, the thing is that with Tesla, you know, Elon Musk, I mean, there was a video that I watched, but I ain't gonna put it up here, but there was a video that I watched, and he's sitting there he almost looked like he was gonna go to tears as he complained about how his company is just continuing to slide down. And I'm thinking, well, Jesus, you know, don't you watch the news? Don't you hear the people out there? Don't you understand why these things are happening? Clearly, he thinks that nothing's wrong with being a Nazi. You know, clearly he thinks all these Sieg Heils that he was doing was not meant to be offensive. Okay, so if he thinks that way, what do you think that means of him as a person? Okay, he was raised in South Africa during apartheid. Okay, so, you know, that tells you right there that he was raised, you know, in a society around him that was discriminating against black people. Clearly, he thought there was nothing wrong with that. So here we got this guy running a company, and he's going around acting like a Nazi. And he also said that, you know, Nazis weren't responsible for the Holocaust, or Hitler wasn't. I'm sorry, not Nazi, but Hitler was not responsible for the Holocaust. You know, how does a guy get like that mentally? It's because he believes that shit. So when people call him a Nazi and put swastikas on Tesla cars and, you know, whatever else they're doing to protest him, there's a reason. Jesus, you know, I don't see why he's sitting there trying to act all, oh, why me? Why are they doing this to me? You know, why is he acting that way? I really don't know. I mean, the guy's got to be completely brainwashed, you know, to think that, I mean, be like somebody today who thinks that, you know, slavery ought to come back. There was nothing wrong with it. The slaves learned how to do skills, okay? That means these people that are saying this shit not only don't care about slavery or what that entailed for black people, but they, you know, they grew up thinking it's okay to discriminate against them and call them the N-word and all this shit. And then they wonder why, you know, we call them racists and bigots. Same thing with Musk here. Same fucking thing. Just, you know, different people. Okay? And he's sitting here trying to make it seem like it was okay, you know, the Holocaust happened, okay? He obviously don't feel any fucking remorse about it. Otherwise, he would have learned a long time ago that being a Nazi supporter is a bad fucking thing, okay? Because of the heinous shit that went on. But he never made that connection. So, you know, regardless of how smart people think of Musk as a businessman, and apparently, you know, with Trump as another example, businessmen don't really have to be smart, okay? They just have to have money. And, you know, stupid people can have lots of money and create businesses and be stupid their whole life. And that's Musk, and that's also Trump. Two stupid people who have lots of money, doing stupid things, okay, and making stupid mistakes, and getting a lot of people in trouble. And, you know, I don't know why this country feels like we should allow stupid people to have important jobs in this country. You know, what's the reason for that? You know, you can't say these people didn't know these people that these two clowns here were fucking stupid. All you had to do was sit down in a room and listen to them talk for 10 minutes, and you'd have known. Okay, these fucking people are not smart. Okay, about a goddamn thing. Look, who's tearing down Tesla? Musk is. Does that sound like a person who's smart, who knows how to run a business? No. He's watching his goddamn company fall through the floor, and he doesn't know why. All right, so let me go to this other video here. It's about 22, 23 minutes long, okay? But it's from the Bituation Room. And while you're watching this, I want you to keep in mind that this was being recorded just moments before they had passed the budget, okay? So she's talking about things in this that were going on before that, and then all of a sudden she finds out it got passed. So I want you to watch this. She brings up some interesting points here, and then we'll come back and discuss that a bit further.
I think maybe we're talking like, what is it, 4 or 5 times? Called Chuck Schumer the nastiest word that Republicans could ever muster, the word they abhor, the thing that they think is the worst thing in the world. Yes, Donald Trump called Chuck Schumer a Palestinian.
And Schumer is a Palestinian as far as I'm concerned. You know, he's become a Palestinian. He used to be Jewish. He's not Jewish anymore. He's a Palestinian. Okay.
Okay, anyway, next question. We're just going to completely continue on as if that were not one of the most anti-Semitic things you could possibly say. Now, it's not a slur to be Palestinian. Let's just get that out of the way, right? No matter how many Palestinians are targeted by this administration, no matter how many Palestinians are having their land stolen in the West Bank with the full or being denied access to food, medicine, water, all kinds of necessary life-saving materials in Gaza right now, thanks to this administration. But he's saying that because he doesn't think that Schumer is loyal enough to Israel. And y'all, this is the definition of Christian Zionism. Trump is not even Christian. You don't even need to be Christian, obviously. It is I, non-Jewish supporter of Israel, get to say when and where Jews who I don't think are fully in line with the Israeli government, which Chuck Schumer absolutely is. He doesn't like Netanyahu, which of course is like, that's a bridge too far. But even many liberal Zionists will be like, yeah, I don't like Netanyahu either. That's where Chuck Schumer is at, right? So this is the week that Donald Trump says this about Chuck Schumer. And it's also the week that Chuck Schumer is giving Donald Trump a massive win and is looking like, although the vote has yet to come down, he is leading the charge to allow the Republicans to pass their budget bill that cuts $880 billion from Medicaid. Okay. And it is like, it's insane. That is what is happening right now. Just had to double check because $880 billion as someone who cannot fathom how much $1 billion is like, is it really 880? Yes. $1 billion, disabled people, children, pregnant women, seniors, veterans, so many people who receive and rely on Medicaid in addition to the cuts on SNAP and food assistance and on and on and on. And Chuck Schumer believes his calculation is that it would be worse to shut down the government when government officials are saying that no, it's actually better to shut it down given what we're going through, given the fact that every other day Elon is dismissing and Doge are dismissing willy-nilly federal workers in droves. The fact that the Secretary of Education just cut half of its staff. What's a shutdown? Grind it all to a halt and let's stop the bleeding a little bit, or at least not give up our leverage. So politically, it's stupid. Morally, it's stupid. All of it is bad. And yet Schumer insists. And just a shout out to the Sunrise movement who are leading. If you haven't been involved in any of Sunrise, they're doing trainings. You can get involved wherever you are. I also think the term young people is very loose. If you are older, you can absolutely get involved. Sunrise was arrested this morning, I believe in the Hart Building, protesting Chuck Schumer.
Chuck Schumer is selling out the people of DC and the people of this country. He's selling out working people, young people. He's not standing up.
We are here in front of Chuck Schumer's office to send a clear message that young people want him to stand up. Step up or step aside. Step up and raise the say on you.
I'm here for all of the students, all the teachers in the schools that I was with who are going to get defunded by the things that are going on. Chuck Schumer needs to stand up.
Okay, so that's beautiful. And let's just remember, like, this is the death knell of the Democratic Party, y'all. Like, it just is. I know it's hard to hear, but it really is. This is a like mass que se vayan todos moment. We're going to talk about Argentina. Que se vayan todos was the slogan in the 2000 economic crisis when all of the political leaders were failing their people. And of course, Republicans are. But these Democrats, and Schumer needs 7 others in the Democratic Party in the Senate to vote for this continuing resolution and to vote for the funding of the government under the auspices of the GOP's budget bill. Now, there's like some machinations that I don't pretend to like fully understand on, like, they're using, obviously, that's why we're demanding to vote no on cloture, because voting no on cloture basically means an end to debate, which makes it go through, like all these kinds of things. But basically, like, we want a filibuster-proof Senate to say no on this bill. And again, like, there's many, many reasons for it. And if you needed another, I mean, let's just go obviously to AOC. You know, when this first happened, I was like, you know, maybe, you know, who knows? You never know how progressives or anyone in the Democratic caucus are going to respond, because sometimes they just sort of like are like, well, maybe the calculation is right, maybe things will be worse under a shutdown, and we got to listen to our party leaders. They did not do that this time around. It's not just AOC. Axios obviously has some incredible reporting about, like, not only are people not on board, specifically House Democrats are not on board with what Chuck Schumer and other Democrats are doing in the Senate, but they are now calling for AOC or someone to immediately primary Chuck Schumer and for Chuck Schumer to step down. Here's AOC on all of this.
Republican extreme spending bill removes all of the guardrails and all of the accountability measures to ensure that money is being spent in the way that Congress has directed for it to be spent. This turns the federal government into a slush fund for Donald Trump and Elon Musk. It sacrifices congressional authority, and it is deeply partisan. And so to me, it is almost unthinkable why Senate Democrats would vote to hand the few pieces of leverage that we have away for free when we've been sent here to protect Social Security, protect Medicaid, and protect Medicare. Republican extreme spending.
There you have it. So it's not only the budget bill, but they throw away their ability to negotiate and to vote in the future. It's effectively saying, yeah, no, Congress isn't a legislative body. Congress is simply just a blank check, green lighting whatever Doggy and Donald Trump want to do. So it's bad, y'all. And again, it's not just AOC, but also the likes of Nancy Pelosi. Pelosi obviously has got to get her say in, and she did. And look, she's a see you next Tuesday, but sometimes she's a see you next Tuesday who's smart and strategic and is on the right side. She issued a statement. Donald Trump and Elon Musk have offered Congress a false choice between the government shutdown or a blank check that makes a devastating assault on the well-being of working families across America. Let's be clear. Neither is a good option for the American people, but this false choice that some are buying, i.e. Schumer, instead of fighting is unacceptable. I salute leader Hakeem Jeffries for his courageous rejection of this false choice, and I'm proud of my colleagues in the House Democratic Caucus for their overwhelming vote against the bill. I mean, when Hakeem Jeffries, the guy who's like, what leverage do we have? I don't know what leverage we have. Now there is a piece of leverage, which is voting no on this budget, no matter what, so that Republicans actually have to earn your vote. So they do not cut these desperately needed services, which is the other thing about the government shutdown. It's like, well, what happens to, like, the Senate and Congress's, what about their health care? What about their salaries? What about their needs? What about their security? You know what I mean? Like, the other part about this is that these 8 or more cowards in the Senate from the Democratic side, they're also sort of voting in their own interests because the government shutdown. Oh no, that would affect me. I'm fine with the federal workers being laid off in mass. I'm fine with, children with disabilities being thrown off of their health care or being denied access to, special education. I'm fine with those programs. But me, I mean, again, like, it is so bald-faced. Like, it is so ridiculous. These people do not work for us. They don't care. Democratic senators should listen to the women. Appropriations leaders Rosa DeLauro and Patty Murray have eloquently presented the case that we must have a better choice, a 4-week funding extension to keep government open and negotiate a bipartisan agreement. America has experienced a shutdown before, but this damaging legislation only makes it worse. So I guess there is a world where there would be a short-term funding, but it doesn't mean that they would vote yes on the whole budget bill, if that makes sense. So there's a way out of this, but it's not what Schumer wants to do at this point. And here is what Hakeem Jeffries said, and I think that's Patty Murray behind him.
Is it time for new leadership in the Senate?
Next question.
Is it time for new leadership in the Senate?
Next question.
Is it time for new leadership in the Senate? Next question. I don't want to answer that. So it's just so pathetic on every single level when Nancy Pelosi has to tell you that you're doing the wrong thing. Like, you absolutely are in the wrong. Because again, Pelosi's a status quo Democrat, but she also understands leverage when it exists. And so this broke last night. Oh, Shumi, they mad. By the way, Donald Trump, in the same week that he, before we get into this, in the same week that he called Chuck Schumer Palestinian, as I just said that he applauds Chuck Schumer. It took guts and courage, just like a Palestinian. He tweeted, he truths out that he was proud of Schumer. Again. Why are there so many people who want to look like bitches, right? Why are there so many people that want to look like bitches? Gavin Newsom want to look like a bitch. Everybody want to look like a bitch right now. Philip Schwartz reminding us votes aren't in. You can still call your senators. Yes, indeed. And people have. I mean, the lines are busy. I've been trying to call too. And I think the other thing to remember is you can call other people's senators. You don't just have to call your senators. I think that's BS. You're like, look, I'm from out of state. For example, California, I know our senators who I have a lot of disagreements with, but are not going to be voting on this budget bill. So we're good. But I'm definitely going to call your senator. I'm definitely going to call, some of these other Gillibrand and Schultz. I mean, these are the same people that were like, we're going to fight. We're going to fight. We got to stand up. And it's like, here's a moment to stand up. Here's some leverage. And I expected Democrats to actually fall more in line, but they're pissed. House lawmakers feel, let's see. House Democrats are circulating a draft letter to Schumer, which was obtained by Axios, voicing strong opinion to pass the spending measure. The American people sent Democrats to Congress to fight against Republican chaos, they wrote. Instead of capitulating their obstruction, we must fight. We urge you to reject the partisan continuing resolution. The letter, first reported by the Washington Post, was signed by 66 Democrats, including many moderates and swing district voters. This is not just the left pressuring Schumer. A lot of it is being led by former Congressional Progressive Caucus Chair Pramila Jayapal and AOC, but there are frontliners too trying to whip. Let's see. The draft letter is being led by Representative Derek Tran, who represents one of the most competitive districts in the country, according to multiple House Democrats. That means competitive with a Republican, y'all. This is someone who is sticking their neck out against Donald Trump. Okay, like if Derek Tran is leading this, and again, I'm sure he's a total moderate centrist, but at least he knows we cannot give up the ability for Congress to do its job. We cannot just forfeit the entire budget for a $4.5 trillion tax break to the wealthy. A centrist House Democrat who represents a battleground district stressed to Axios, this is, quote, not an ideological battle. I've never seen our caucus more united around an issue. Even Richie Torres is in on this. I mean, it's just wild. So people are pissed. Wait, there is a better article, and I thought that was the one that I'm sorry, guys. There's just a lot going on. But yeah, everyone is pissed. People are openly saying that Schumer needs to go. Schumer needs to be primaried. I think he's just got to step down. Like, I think he's, there's no time to waste. We cannot have this person leading. We can't have this person leading the party. This was actually what I wanted to show y'all, obviously not this. House Democrats feel like they walked the plank, in words of one member. They voted unanimously against the measure, only to watch Senate Democrats seemingly give it a green light. Complete another meltdown on all text chains, said the member who spoke on condition of anonymity. People are furious. All but one House Democrat voted against the bill. Yeah, we know. Jared. Let's see. Several members, including moderates, have begun voicing support for a primary challenge to Schumer, floating names like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Dan Goldman as possible candidates, 3 House Democrats said. One lawmaker even vowed at the House Democratic retreat to, quote, write a check tonight supporting Ocasio-Cortez, the senior House Democrat said. That is amazing. I will write a check tonight. Girl, say the word. Like, you say the word, we are all writing checks tonight to AOC to primary Chuck Schumer. I mean, this has been in the long time in the making. Another Democrat told Axios the ideation has gone a step further. Quote, there's definitely a primary recruitment effort happening right now, not just for Schumer, but everyone who votes yes, who votes no, for everyone who votes no, but basically everyone who actually like passes this budget bill. So that's huge. That's massive. Let me go to okay, so Schumer, Hassan, Peters, Durbin, Schatz, King, Shaheen, obviously Fetterman, Cortez Masto, and Gillibrand are the ones to watch and the ones to call. And this has been hours now. This has been hours. I don't know what updates we've got right now, or where we're at. I think they're circulating amendments right now. Less than 9 hours to go. Let's see. Rand Paul is seeking an amendment. On the Democratic side, there's a major support for an amendment from Senator Patty Murray, the top Democrat appropriator, for a 4-week stopgap that would keep the government running on the current funding levels in an effort to buy more time. Again, they're kicking the can. So that is the option that would not mean that they necessarily capitulated to this budget. Tammy Duckworth, senator, is seeking reinstatement eligibility for veterans and federal employees fired by DOJ, and a report on the number of veterans impacted by agencies. Chris Van Hollen wants to block funding for DOJ or any successor agency. Jeff Merkley wants to limit some of the bill's rescissions, language zeroing out funding for certain groups. None of the amendments are expected to garner enough votes to be adopted, but they would clear the way for a final passage of the House-approved bill ahead of the midnight deadline. It's a little bit of an S show over there, people. Things are a little cray. But I love the idea that they are immediately floating. They're immediately floating like primary challengers. And again, this is something that is resurfacing from 2007 about Chuck Schumer. And we just have to read you. It literally is called Imaginary Friends. And apparently Schumer has said, and I quote, "He is accompanied everywhere he goes by 2 imaginary middle-class friends who advise him on all manner of middle-class concerns." What the actual fuck? Oh, God. Their names until recently were Joe and Eileen O'Reilly. Now, this is 2007. So this was like, I thought this was like from now, where I was like, yeah, obviously he's 74. He's old. He's losing it. But no. No, this is from 2007. He was a strapping young, 60-year-old. Their names until recently were Joe and Eileen O'Reilly. For the book's sake, we wanted them to be more national, Schumer said. They put it in a book, so they became the Baileys. The Baileys live in Massapequa, Nassau County, in a town that is invariably known on Long Island as Matzo Pizza, so very Jewish. The Baileys are both 45. Joe works for an insurance company. Eileen is a part-time employee at the doctor's office. They worry about terrorism and about values and are patriots. Joe takes off his cap and sings along with a national anthem. This is so cringe, yo. We weren't even saying the word cringe in 2005. This is insane. Schumer wrote all of this down. They're not ideologues. They're worried about property taxes. It's the tax they hate. And that's what Democrats don't get. Oh God, they're just little next door Karens. You know what I'm saying? I'm so glad we have words like next door Karens and cringe to properly understand who the Baileys are, the imaginary constituents on Long Island, the wealthy constituents that Chuck Schumer thinks of in his mind, because actually these kinds of centrists, these kinds of Karens are so few and far between that they literally have to live in his mind. I'm sure he's consulting the Baileys right now. Bailey, Mr. Bailey, what do I do? Joe. Fucking wild, y'all. Wild. Thank you, Bolder Than Point. Fran, you're doing great work. I volunteer, and even feeding one family is fulfilling. When you're rich, it's easy and steadfast. When you're us, we take it an inch at a time, and that 1 inch reaches farther than any bought and paid for mile. Keep it up. That's very sweet, and thank you for that really generous super chat. Yes, feeding one child is fulfilling, and I can tell you that as someone who like sees my child eat, and I'm like, I'm filled with joy. And also, it's also, hard to get her to eat the stuff. Although she's such a California bitch, dude. She loves kale and broccoli and like smoothies. It's pretty disgusting. Anyway, before I bring in my guest, the Democratic Party, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Like, these Democrats are done. So until they get out of the way and until we actually have new leadership, it's a wrap. And if they won't get out of the way, then there needs to be something else. I mean, truly, there's only so much you can say, get out of the way, or what? The threat has to be there. There must be something else. But you have to understand, even when Schumer is the worst, or Gillibrand is the worst, or Cortez Masto is the worst, or all these folks who are voting possibly for this budget bill, Durbin, King, Shaheen, these, by the way, were all people who also voted for so many of Trump's nominees. Kristi Noem, Russell Vogt didn't get the votes, but the precursor to Russell Vogt, I'm forgetting his name, some other Doge Project 2025 a-hole. They voted for all of them. They all voted for Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio is now single-handedly trying to get green card holders deported from the United States. So remember that it's not just Schumer, it's not just these senators, it's also Hakeem Jeffries. Okay, it's good they got their caucus in line, but they don't have much of a clue beyond this. So it is time for new blood, and if that blood is not allowed to flow, then you got to abandon this carcass. So the budget passed. Senate votes to, Jesus Christ, you guys.
Kind of summarizes the way things have been going the last 6-7 weeks here. We bitch and we complain about the things that Trump is doing, and things just continue to go on like they don't hear us. You see? But yeah, the people are mad at Chuck Schumer, even Nancy Pelosi, who I don't agree with her most of the time. Okay, she kind of pisses me off, but even she come out and said, and I'm not even sure whether she did this as a way to, step on a man who made a mistake and, trying to, make that into a political ploy for herself to boost her own image. I don't know. Okay. All I know was that, she's, not on Schumer's side here with what he did, or the other 10 or 11 fucking Democrats that voted with him. Okay. But, passing that budget, cutting $880 billion from Medicaid, and cuts on SNAP, for people. I mean, it affects the disabled, pregnant women, veterans, elderly, the children. I mean, like I said, it's a broad spectrum impact from Republican all the way to Democrat. Okay, this is going to affect everybody. And why MAGA is not as enraged as the Democrats are is telling, because they're biting their tongue. They're pissed. They got to be pissed because it's going to impact them. And when they see, that they're not getting the same thing anymore that they were getting that was keeping them from starving, okay, what are they're going to piss unless they're not human, okay? They're going to be pissed. And so, like I said, the longer this shit goes on with Trump doing what he's doing, the more momentum is going to build against him, okay? He obviously doesn't seem to think that's going to be a problem, okay? And that could be another sign of his stupidity. I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't care because he knows, he's old. He ain't going to live much longer. And when he dies, he ain't going to be around to see the fallout from what he's done. I don't know. But that's certainly, either way you look at it, he's certainly a demented fucking old fart. And, he deserves everything bad that happens in life to happen to him, okay? So, but as far as Schumer goes, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of hatred in the caucus here, for against him. And I hope I hope that they primary him. Really, I do. He's 75 years old. Okay, he's another of the old guard that needs to leave. Okay, him, Pelosi, you name it. These people, they are icons or what do they call them? Legacy people from a different era that had different thoughts. Okay, those thoughts led us to problems we still haven't fixed, and they're still in power, still using their flawed logic to fix problems that they created. You see what I'm saying? So it's a different time, it's a different era. We need different people, we need new people to think differently. Okay, young minds, fresh ideas, and we're not going to get that with the Chuck Schumers and Nancy Pelosi's and people like that. Certainly Donald Trump is another person in that category as well. Okay, he's a businessman from a different time where those practices do not work in today's era. That's why he's failed at every fucking business he ever did, because he wasn't very good then, and he's not even any better now. Even with all that experience of failure, he hasn't learned a goddamn thing. So it's just he doesn't understand how things work. So we need to say to these people, in that generation, go home, retire, enjoy the fruits of your life, okay? All right, give us the baton so we can continue on in a new era that requires different solutions, okay? We're facing problems you didn't have to face, okay? Because you were creating them, but you weren't facing the corrective measures of them. We're facing your mistakes now. So you people need to just, step out of the fucking room, exit stage left, get the hell out of here, okay? And hand things over to a young generation. And that's what we need to do, okay? This is a different world now. And as hard as it is for these people to let go of power, we're probably going to have to end up forcing them out for the most part. And that means primarying them. They're going to have to lose their seats in order to understand that, the younger generation means business. Because frankly, we're sitting here on pins and needles. We're watching the world crumble around us. And the older people are just in this thing because they ain't got nothing better to do. And while they're doing what they're doing, they're actually fucking things up all the worse. It's just, go away. Okay? We just don't need these people around. God. You've done all you can. You've repeated the same problems over and, the same ideas you had over and over again, expecting different solutions, and it never worked. Okay? We still got those trickle-down economic motherfuckers sitting in Washington who clearly are stuck in the old ways. Out. Get the fuck out. All right? We tried it that way. It does not work. With the more money you give to the top, the more they hang on to. There's no such thing as trickle down. It never works. Jesus, I think we proved that already. But it's sad that, when this thing passed, the Democrats gave up their leverage, essentially. Schumer led them down, sold them up the river, made a promise, we're going to fight, we're going to fight, we're going to fight, and within a week, he went from we're going to fight to we're going to surrender. He had leverage. He had the leverage. And like a lady said, there was a proposal for a 4-week, extension for budget that they could have negotiated on. But no, he just said, no, we're just going to, go along with the Republicans, to go along with Trump and do what he wants. Okay. And we're not saving the government, okay? The government may not be shutting down all at once, but it's shutting down bit by bit by bit because Trump is out there cutting the shit out of all the services that the government provides, okay? So at the end of the day, it's still going to feel like a government shutdown because nobody's going to be able to get anything done, okay? If I was Schumer, I'd be kind of pissed. I mean, Trump kind of gives him a left-handed compliment here. He praises Schumer for, siding with him on the budget, and then he calls him, calls him a Palestinian. It's like, Schumer, what the fuck are you, you don't see that you're being used. Trump was using you. He got what he wanted out of you. Are you mentally decrepit that you didn't see this? I mean, what the hell's the matter with you? I mean, I think most people saw that, you know, stepping into this thing was a trap. And, you know, with the 10 Democrats that voted with him, clearly these are people who were kissing Schumer's ass, okay? Probably got favors from him in order to get those votes. And it just, it boggles the mind because, you know, this passage here, this thing, it takes away the guardrails. Like they said, of how money spent correctly, you know, in Congress, and Congress has got no real authority now. But Congress is on his side anyway, right? Because it's mostly Republican. But with this here, I mean, they got all the money now to do what they want with it, and there's no oversight. And giving, you know, these fucking tax breaks for the wealthy, and you know, it's really sad. So many people getting thrown under the bus here from that, and you know, I have to say that you know, with a government shutdown, you know, there could have been you know, more pressure on the Republicans, you know, to work out something better than what they had. You know, they could have done something. But to just simply lie down without really putting up a fight, okay? I mean, he never even gave it a chance. I mean, he just simply gave up before he could even, you know, get on the battlefield, as it were, you know? And I feel like, you know, you told people, remember he was standing outside saying, we won't quit, we won't, you know, chanting with all the people, and at the same time, in the back of his mind, he probably knew, well, I ain't gonna do any of this shit. You know, he lied to all those people around him. They all thought he was gonna be on their side. And it seems like every time people think that a politician is doing something for them, boy, do they learn the hard way. You know, you never trust anything that they say until they do what they say, okay? Never believe it. When they say they're going to do this, they're going to do that, don't you fucking believe it. If a bank came up to you and said, I'll give you $1 million and it won't cost you anything, okay? Are you going to say, yeah, okay? Don't be stupid. You don't get something for nothing. And what Schumer did there was he got a lot of people on board with him, and then he turns around and he betrays everybody that was on his side. And that's not a good thing to do, okay? And it's the worst thing. And if the Democrats don't get ahead of this and get rid of Schumer and show that the Democrats are serious about, you know, doing something about Trump, it's over. The fight's over, and the midterms won't matter, and people won't vote, and that's it. It's all, you know, it'll be over before before we even finish the you know, this month, okay? But yes, there needs to be a momentum to get rid of all the wishy-washy Democrats out of the system, okay? We can't have centrists. We got to have people on the fucking left. All right, you see what I'm saying? We didn't make it this way, but if this is the way that they want to fight it, this is the way it's got to be. You know, I know I've said in the past that in order for this country to heal, people have to learn to come to the center, but that only means both sides have to. One side can't do it and the other side not. But both sides have to come to the conclusion that the only way this country can live and survive is if we can compromise. And if we can't do that, we've already lost. And right now, this kind of a fight where everyone on one side is so far over there that, you know, they're never going to come over to the center, that means we have to go all the way on the other side and not come to the center either. It's got to, that's the way you have to fight this thing. You can't, because if nobody wants to come to the middle, you know, for every one person on one side that comes to the center, there has to be one on the other side willing to come to the center. It can't be just one person or one group in the center. That's it. You have to have everybody come to the middle. And right now, that's not going to happen. Not with Trump as president, not with the mentality that's running around out there. The only way you're going to be able to get people to come together is when we have a shared experience. And that experience is going to be a bad experience, which means we're all going to have to suffer together in order to bring the country back together. That's the only way we can save America, is, you know, maybe we all have to have Trump as president for as long as possible to make it so miserable in this country that at the end of the day, there's not going to be a right or a left. It's only going to be a cause. And that cause is to remove the dictator that's in the White House. Do you see what I'm saying? That's the only way this shit stops. That's the only way. Once that's done, okay, people can do what they want, debating on what they want to see happen next, okay? But at this moment, the goal is to get rid of Trump, to get our country back. And until everyone is on the same page, we're not going to be able to do that. And right now, we got Democrats that aren't on the same page. We can't even get unity in the Democrat Party right now to stand against Trump. So that tells you right there, there's not any real big momentum there. So I guess you could say that, you know, there's not going to be any sunlight over the horizon for a time, okay? We're not going to see any daylight here. Things are just going to continue to deteriorate until we come to the point where, you know, hey, that's it. I've had enough, you know. And as far as the government's concerned, they're not going to want that. Because when people get to the point where they've had it up to here, what do people do when that? They don't react logically, do they? They react violently, okay? And that's the last thing Trump or anybody in government wants to see, is a mass population violently opposing government on every level, even state government. They're going to just go after anybody that's got a title. That's what will happen. And it's going to be because of people who cannot take a stand on something and mean it, like Chuck Schumer. Okay? It's going to mean that. And right now is the worst time in the world to make promises and not keep them. People are looking for answers. They're looking for solutions. If you open your mouth and you say, I'm going to do this, you better fucking do it. Because if you turn around and you say no, all those angry people out there are going to remember that about you. And you're going to, you know, one way or another, they're going to get revenge. Okay? Because as times get worse, your face is going to become, you know, emboldened into their memories, and they're going to remember you. And like I said, it's a dangerous time right now for politicians to go around and play things as the way they used to be, because this is not the same times. These are different, more dark times in our country, which means things are pretty volatile, and it's only going to get worse from here. It's not getting better. It's going to get worse. I don't care what MAGA says about, oh, you guys are just being, you know. No. You know, MAGA, you just go back to bed, okay? When you wake up, you'll see a different country. But right now, you guys, you know, your days of your trying to defend your credibility are gone, okay? You're nobody. But for the rest of us, you know, we have to come to an understanding about how we fight this, how we fight Trump. And we have to do it with a unifying force, and everybody has to be walking down the same path and on the same page. You have to. I mean, this is nothing, you know, short of a war in our country going on. I mean, I can't imagine anything. I mean, you know, right now it'd be like a civil war that's not not involving guns yet, but this is that's what's happening. We're having a civil war, basically, of ideologies, and the worse things get, the more that's going to bleed out into violence around. Okay, and this summer you're going to see a lot of that, I think, you know. Because people are going to, you know, they're going to be more inclined to get out there and do things, marches and stuff like that, and they're going to start raising, you know, people's ire, and before you know it, the police are going to get involved, and then before you know it, somebody's going to get hurt, and then before you know it, there's going to be blood on the fucking streets, okay? That's how easy these things can escalate. And if Trump doesn't seem to care about that, then, hey, that's what's going to happen. I don't care how many fucking military he puts out on the streets. I mean, the more you come down on the people, the harder the people are going to fight back, you know. That's just how it is. Americans are too used to having things their way. We're a selfish society, okay? We want everything our way. And when somebody keeps telling us no, we're going to keep punching back until the answer comes back yes. Okay? That's just how we are. We're a violent country. Everybody knows that. Everybody's got guns. Everybody's shooting everybody. We don't even give a shit when our kids get shot. We're a violent country. So how do you think you're going to convince Americans to just kneel before your orange Hitler there, and I mean, do you think anyone's ever going to do that? I don't think so. Trump's living in a dream world if he thinks Americans are just going to sit by and let this shit roll over them, No, a lot of Americans are not going to sit still for that. We got a lot of veterans in this country, a lot of them, and hey, a lot of them, honestly, unhinged. Living, isolated lives, shut-ins for some cases, surrounded with all the guns in the world, and they shouldn't have them, okay? Any one of these people can get irate enough to get out there and do something stupid, Any one of them. You can't control everybody. There ain't enough cops in this country to control everybody. There just isn't. There ain't enough military in this country to stop, things like that from happening. So that's what I'm saying. It's only going to get worse, and people like Schumer are going to be remembered as those who capitulated, those who gave in without really putting up a fight, promising a fight, never gave a fight, So anyway, that's it for today. I hope everybody has a great rest of the weekend. Subscribe, comment, and share. And keep your ears open for health issues, and treat your neighbors kindly out there. Stick together. Find some kind of solace in that, because that's all we're going to have left here, really, is just each other and who we can trust. So take care, and I'll talk to you guys later. So